Of course, this is in LAX's airspace, so we're looking from a distance. But southbound Figueroa, it came to a stop at Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, and it seemed like the suspect was going to give up. Boy, really driving pretty crazy here. Might have a bad tire. They had stopped for quite a bit, and LAPD was blocking off the streets. Look at all the sparks coming out of the rear, the rear passenger side wheel well right there, and barely maintaining control of this vehicle. Again, an allegedly stolen truck. LAPD now back in pursuit after it looked like the suspect was going to give up. They had other plans going right through that traffic there, through that red light, southbound Figueroa at Vernon. Pretty dangerous one here, Pat and Jeff.
No question about that. We're going to say that this started at, you picked it up at southbound Figueroa. Just wondering if we know if officers deployed a spike strip of some sort to have this, with what we're looking at now to see the damage on that back tire. Do we have that information?
No, they very well may have. It would certainly make, actually now, assignment desk is saying no, we're not aware that any spike strips were used. So if this somehow the driver knocked his own tire off or something, maybe he went up on a curve kind of quickly and did the damage, it's unclear at this point, but just ridiculous that the suspect continues to go. It really seemed like this one was going to come to an end right when we were getting overhead. LAPD had blocked off all of these streets. They had a ton of officers out there, but the suspect decided to take off once again, and we're going to see if we can put in even a little extra zoom on this. We're looking almost a couple of miles away now at this point. And again, we're in that LAX airspace, so we have to be basically over USC, and where you can see how deep into South LA we're looking now, as we're down to about 53rd Street. As they get closer to the 105, if this continues, then we can go to the other side and hopefully get you a better shot. But we also heard that the suspect was reaching around in the glove compartment area earlier, something that LAPD really, really hates to hear. Unclear if this person has a weapon or something, but obviously police are very concerned about that.
Really have no idea how fast it's going, but it is really weighted down. I wonder, Des, as it goes through those red lights there, does this appear to be some sort of work truck that's been stolen? It looks like there's a lot of stuff in the bed of this truck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 LAPD units behind it. Des, go ahead.
Yeah,
look
possibly.
at that.
I mean, look, this truck just lurching along now at this point. All of the sparks coming out. I mean, this truck might catch fire if the suspect continues to press their luck like this as we cross Slauson, still southbound on Figueroa at this point. It does look like the truck is weighted down with a lot of stuff in the bed, that's for sure, Jeff. Unclear what that is. Unfortunately, we were not able to get a very good look as the suspect took off right as we got over the scene of this. So we're just going to stick with this for a little bit longer, and once they get down to, let's see, probably a few more streets where we're going to try to go pick it up on the other side. We'll have to transition southbound 110, and a tree gets in the way. Let's see if we can slide a little bit to the left to see around this tree.
At least, right? A crosswalk?
Suspect,
is that a railroad track?
the suspect. It looks like a crosswalk here.
And
they're out of their cars again.
Appears to be stopped again. Yeah, so the suspect must have stopped. Well, and now they're getting back in, which means the suspect is continuing to go. And
it's just so unbelievable as slow as this truck is moving, and not just slowly, but laboriously, as if it can.
Yeah.
All right, it's
you got to think it's
going a little faster than we saw not too long ago. But you just wonder just how long that he can continue with this. This is the second time that we've noticed, Des, since you've been on the air with this, that the vehicle stopped and law enforcement pulled over, got out of their vehicles, and then got back in the car. I don't know. He seems to be out a little further in front of officers right now. See what he's going to do here. Well, he is stopping.
But now coming up to some stop traffic, and I'm not even sure that this vehicle is able to, get around this traffic. Well, now the light's turning green, and it looks like the truck's still continuing to go. All those sparks pouring out. We're trying to get in touch with LAX Tower right now so that we can make the transition down the 110 to get to the other side and give you a better shot of this right now, since it appears that the suspect is pretty content on staying southbound on Figueroa.
Looks like a lot more smoke, guys. Did you notice that? A lot more smoke coming out
like
the back of that vehicle, and it's rocking. Oh, this is a lot of traffic here.
Yeah, this is going to be.
I mean, we're in rush hour traffic now at this point.
Yeah, on West Gage and South Figueroa Street.
I got to think this has got to be over pretty soon. I mean, this is going so slow. I think you could walk up to the vehicle, couldn't you, Des?
Well, look at this now. Someone there getting kind of confused. They wanted to try to pull over for the police. I think they just got in a crash right here. Might have rear-ended this innocent person as that person was trying to get out of the way for LAPD's lights and sirens, and then they ended up getting in front of the suspect, and I think the suspect may have hit the people. Now, we just got the permission from LAX Tower to transition, but we have to stay over the 110, so we'll see how good of a shot we can hold for you here as we're southbound down near 64th Street. You can see a lot of people out here pretty nervous, and LAPD telling them get out of the way because we have no idea who we're dealing with here. But the truck was at a stop, another tree getting in our way. So
we love our trees in Los Angeles.
We can see on the other side.
You know what, though? Yeah. Are you talking about when you said an innocent driver? Was that a black SUV? Is that the one you're talking about right there?
It looked like a minivan.
Is that black SUV?
One right here.
Yeah, there it is.
I think it might be a Ford Explorer. So here's the truck. Now, what's also unfortunate is we have to go to the other side of the LAX space. So we have to basically go from the Coliseum down towards the 105. So we're going to give you a good flyby. And you can see LAPD right here. They're waving people over, telling them to get out of the way. And we'll see if there's still someone in that SUV.
Yeah, because it's
probably pretty confused about what's going on.
We're
getting a good look at this truck. It looks to be maybe a Dodge Ram or a Durango or
it's got front end
something like
damage,
that.
rear end damage. It's weighted down. And Des, this is going to be one of those situations where it looks like he's just going to stay in the truck. We know how that happens. We know that they can spend more time in the vehicle in a standoff than they can for the actual pursuit. We've seen that many times because we kind of lose the picture.
Unless if they want to use some tear gas or something like that to get this over a little sooner, they certainly have the opportunity to do that. Just don't know what kind of decision.
We saw it last night in a pursuit. If folks were watching that pursuit that came from San Diego to Anaheim, the authorities did not mess around for very long at all before they shot the suspect with a bunch of pepper balls, and then they still had to take that suspect into custody by force.
Yeah.
So we're really trying hard here with LAX Tower. If we stay east of the 110, I'm being told we may be able to get a better shot for you here. So let's see if these trees will cooperate this time. But we're at Figueroa and 65th. We're also going to be shooting into the sun is going to be another factor here. But we're doing our best to try to see what is happening. And we believe now a standoff situation with this allegedly stolen truck. And yes, here it is. It's stopped. We'll see if it's even capable of going again. The suspect really pushed it hard, but just got into a crash with that SUV. You see the damage there. And the wheels are turning
he's moving.
again.
He's moving.
Again.
Slowly.
Still going.
So that SUV must have, maybe they told him to move. Maybe they told the driver of that that black, we believe it was a Ford, to move.
That thing is burning a lot of oil. It's got a lot of smoke coming out of the back.
And you wonder if this person would be worried about that truck catching fire at this point, because there's so much smoke coming out the back. And interesting, Desi's.
Spike strips.
Spike strip. Okay.
Spike attempt.
I think they got the front wheels.
So he's wobbling more.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, already down one tire. Not sure if that spike was successful or not. It may have hit the rear, but so dangerous. I mean, even at a low speed, only going maybe 20, 25 miles an hour, but this suspect is barely keeping control of this truck, you know, that weighs probably 4,000 pounds or so. And here we are in rush hour traffic on very busy southbound Figueroa. Already got into one crash and just refusing, just pushing this poor truck as hard as it can go. It might be down on the brake caliber now at this point. Actually made a turn.
Look at the
might get stuck in the curb. This could be
There's pedestrians out there.
And now you've got and you've got people out here
taking
as
pictures.
well. And so another complicating factor for LAPD. So now down at 70th Street. And we'll see if that truck can do anything after making that turn.
You see people running out of the way. Obviously, this is getting a lot of attention.
They're probably
Police
told
there,
them to get out
pedestrians
of the way.
have, absolutely. But Pat, this looks like it's disabled. I think, obviously, you take a look at the back. Is that? Oh, I think that's fire coming out of the back axle there. You see that fire up underneath there? I would assume that that's just down to probably the rim, if not maybe even just the brake pads, Des.
Yeah, I think it's down to the brake caliper there, Jeff. You're right. That's what's on fire right now. And you can see that front passenger tire is flat as well. So if that may have that looks like that was a successful spike strip. So this driver now down 2 tires. He's only got rubber on 3 tires. He's got fire coming out of the rear here and seeing some movement. So we're still looking at a distance here. My pilot Jackson doing the best possible to keep LAX happy as we try to bring you this shot at 70th and Figueroa. We'll just drop that for now unless the suspect decides to go again. Then we'll put the address bar back on. And how much longer is this suspect going to drag this out?
You know, it's interesting. Officers felt certainly safe enough to deploy a spike strip. I remember we were talking just moments ago about not knowing if this person possibly had a weapon because he was moving around and reaching for the glove compartment. But they certainly deployed that spike strip, and it seems to have been successful. This truck, I should say, this stolen vehicle is stopped, and fire underneath. I almost thought he was trying to move again. Maybe not, but officers are just, go ahead. Okay, Des, we'll catch you on the other side of this special
Breaking
report.
news, tragedy in Texas. An elementary school shooting leaves at least 14 students and a teacher dead, even more injured. Tonight, the latest details. A gunman opens fire on second, third, and fourth graders. The horrifying latest. The investigation. The FBI, ATF.
To pass.
Eventually, that caused the driver to come out after a standoff.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. That pursuit ended on the freeway, and police had to fire a number of pepper canisters or balls or whatever it is they shoot into a vehicle to get that driver to be distressed enough to have to get out of the car just to breathe. So obviously, with a fire burning right there, they want that driver out for everybody's safety. And that driver may or may not be comprehending that there is a fire. You know, we don't know the state of mind of this person. Right. Who knows if they're actually fully alert or on drugs or alcohol, or who knows what the situation is. They seem to be driving in a straight line when they were driving.
Yeah, which could not have been easy given how disabled that vehicle was.
Yeah, before.
So if you're just joining us, the time is now 5:30 and you're watching the Fox 11 News at 5. I'm Alex Michelson with Christine Devine. A sign of the times, our two big stories at this hour, yet another mass shooting in Texas. We are standing by waiting for President Biden to address the nation. He's so far about 15 minutes late. When that happens, we'll bring it to you live. In the meantime, here in Southern California, yet another pursuit. This is presumably the end of one, although the driver has not gotten out of the vehicle. We think this was a stolen truck that has been driving through the streets of South LA. We saw at least one spike strip. We saw the back tire of the truck disabled. We see damage on the front end of this vehicle. We saw a fire near the back of this truck, and we saw pepper spray being put into this truck, and yet the driver remains. Now a standoff that we're looking at in the streets of South LA.
So we are in a neighborhood now, a residential area. The vehicle had been on business streets throughout the pursuit. When we picked it up, we're around 70th and Figueroa, very near the 110 freeway. Keep in mind, this is now a neighborhood. There were people there on the sidewalk when this truck pulled into this spot here. Disabled because, one, for sure, a spike strip. We saw police deploy that spike strip. Yep. You can see them right there with their guns drawn, perhaps thinking of sending in more pepper spray into that vehicle, perhaps.
Possibly. Yeah, and of course, we don't know the nature of why this vehicle was stolen or how it was stolen. Was it an armed robbery of that vehicle? And if so, is this suspect armed? That is something that is, of course, top of mind for the officers. They, of course, have the advantage of time. They can wait this guy out as long as they need to. They can bring in another shift. They can...
Testimony states all members are men and none are African American. Membership.
Do you see a crowd on the other side of the street, or is that tree in the way? On this, okay, got it. Welcome, everybody, as you join us live on ABC7.com and our ABC7 streaming apps. Chris Christie up in Air 7 HD at the apparent end of a police pursuit. That pickup truck right there to the top of your screen, refusing to pull over and now refusing to come out of the vehicle. He is now stopped on 70th Street, just west of Figueroa here in South LA. You can see LAPD out with their guns drawn and now trying to get this person to come out, the driver to come out of the vehicle. There is a fire underneath the rear tail, that right rear tail. He has lost already that right rear tire, and he's also lost his front right tire as well. So he is apparently hit a spike strip at some point earlier on in this pursuit. He also crashed into another vehicle a little further back here, a little north of here, along Figueroa and Gage. That's an accident that's being, but he stopped for a short time, kept on going, and is being observed to keep reaching in the center console. So he is not following orders. He is refusing to come out, and now it is a standoff taking place on the corner of 70th and Figueroa. Again, a grand theft auto suspect wanted for the theft of that white pickup truck.
It wasn't one of those high-speed pursuits in a heavy vehicle where that driver could hit pedestrians necessarily because of the speeds.
Yeah, it could have, because you don't know if you lose control, what happens as well.
But already the speeds were slow.
Yeah, it was not something like what we were looking at yesterday when we had a pursuit that was, the car was just flying, as we sometimes see. So we're at 70th and Figueroa in South Los Angeles. You see there, law enforcement has put up some police tape, and they are setting up a perimeter there. Guns drawn. You don't know if those are less than lethal rounds that they may have ready there. We are making the assumption that earlier it was some sort of pepper spray that they may have shot into that vehicle, because that is a typical procedure. We do not know that for a fact. The danger in a situation like this, when you're in a residential neighborhood where they hear the helicopters above, they hear the sirens, they're watching it on the news. The danger, of course, is that people come out because they want to see the show in person, and then they're potentially in the line of gunfire. So if you are in this neighborhood, you know, enjoy the show on TV. Of course, it's not really a show, and this is real life stuff, and people can get really hurt with all of this, but it is not a good idea to be out there on the street, and law enforcement's going to try to keep you away.
And you have to wonder why this suspect is staying in this vehicle. Where are they going to go? Pretty much nowhere. So you have to wonder why the suspect is dragging this out. You know, that suspect could sit there for hours in that vehicle. Police obviously are going to have safety first on their minds. And as we watch this play out, it's kind of a waiting game right now with this driver in this neighborhood. And it looks like some kind of office type of building. I don't think that's quite an apartment building. Would you say, Alex?
Tough to tell, but we are trying to get some more information about what exactly happened here. Now we look on the other side of the street. You see this perimeter that is being set up to give law enforcement some room to move, to try to stop traffic and to try to stop anybody from potentially being in the line of fire. You wonder also about those people whose cars were just parked on that street. As we watch this, by the way, we want to remind you that the other big story that we are following, of course, is that shooting in Texas, where 18 kids are dead, 3 adults are dead, many others are hospitalized tonight, and the fear is that that number, in terms of number of dead, could grow as we continue into the night. The President of the United States was in Asia when this happened, or flying back from a trip to Asia. He's been briefed. He's talked with the governor of Texas, and he is preparing to address the nation. We are apparently very close to that. When that happens, we will take you to the live. Okay, this is a live look from the White House. We are 2 minutes away. This is the same space where we think about Barack Obama addressing the nation 10 years ago.
Report. I'm John Dickerson in Washington.
Go ahead, Booth. I can hear you. Yeah, this is it here. We are South LA. Correct. Yeah, it's a standoff. It was a pursuit, but now just a standoff. All right, copy that. Go ahead, Booth. Yes, we copy you.
The President of the United States, Joe Biden, there, beginning his remarks by talking about what it's like to lose a child. Of course, Joe Biden has lost two. One when he was much younger, a young daughter in a car crash. The other, of course, Beau Biden, who he lost to brain cancer when Beau was in his 40s. And then also talking about the politics of the moment with gun control. And there is, let's face it, no path right now, no path to get any of that stuff done based off of the way that the Senate is set up, based off of the, what Republicans have said. Republicans would dispute a lot of what he said in terms of the causes of this, and there are other things that should be changed, but there is no way of seeing that there's going to be anything that actually changes on the part of gun control.
The president, being a Democrat, of course, is going to call for what he calls common sense gun laws and address that political issue when it comes to guns in America. But you really did feel his emotion having lived through losing a child. You felt the questions he would ask himself almost as he addressed what the parents are going through in Texas. He asked for the nation's prayers and said that those people are going to need a lot of help. Well, and you just really feel for any parent who's lost a child.
And part of that job of being president and before vice president and senator for so many years, being in public life for more than 50 years, is you often have to meet with those family members that have lost somebody. He did that after Newtown and likely will be doing that again. And what a tough conversation. What do you say to somebody that just went through that?
We're going to send you to break. We're going to have more news when we come back here on Fox 11.
Extra, extra. Tonight on Fox, it's a Name That Tune blockbuster season finale.
Yeah, stolen. And Chuck and Colleen, this has now become a standoff here in South LA. We're just off of Figueroa and 70th Street. This was the LAPD Southwest Division officers who were in pursuit of this pickup because they believe it to be a stolen car. Now, this was a slow-moving chase down Figueroa, and the vehicle actually collided with other cars along the way, but has finally come to a stop, but he is now refusing to get out of the car. Now, I want to show you something. Look near the license plate. Look just below it. It looks like the car may be catching fire. So the occupant of this vehicle may be forced to get out sooner than he wants because this car may be engulfed here if that continues. Again, South LA, Figueroa at 70th Street, which is just north of Florence. That's the latest from overhead in News Chopper 4. Back to you in the studio. And off. Thank you.
Hands.
The event was hosted by
at an elementary school. I'm Pat Harvey. The deadly school shooting happened in Uvalde, Texas. Police say the 18-year-old gunman walked into Robb Elementary and opened fire. CBS 2's Susie Sa is here with the very latest on the latest tragedy in the country. Susie?
Well, Pat, the news coming out of Uvalde has gotten worse by the hour. First, it was 2 dead, then 15, and now, as you mentioned, a total of 19. And this is just into our CBS 2 newsroom, a photo of the shooter. He reportedly bought the guns he used on his 18th birthday, which was very recently. Police say today he shot his grandmother, then went to Robb Elementary and began his massacre. An army of local and federal authorities converged on Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas this afternoon. Inside the school, police say an 18-year-old went on a shooting rampage. The governor of Texas identified the shooter as Salvador Ramos. He was from the area and died at the scene.
It's believed that he abandoned his vehicle and entered into the Robb Elementary School in Uvalde with a handgun, and he may have also had a rifle.
Local officials say the gunman also wounded several others, including students and adults. And 2 officers responding to the scene were hit by gunfire.
Families are being notified, and we are providing services to them. We do want to keep all our families in their prayers. I hope you do as well.
The local civic center quickly became a reunification center for parents and their children. About 600 students attend Robb Elementary. Their school year was set to end Thursday.
Your niece, who is more like a daughter, attends Robb, and she's missing right now.
Correct. Yes, she's always calling on her cell phone. She'll blow up somebody until somebody answers her. And up to right now, to this minute, we have not gotten one phone call from her.
And you can only imagine the anxiety for these parents, these families who are still at this hour waiting for a complete list of who was killed and injured. A Texas state senator tells CNN this afternoon the gunman may have posted threats and warnings on social media before today's attack. I'm Susie Sa. Pat, back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Susie. Now, CBS 2 political reporter Tom Wade is here, and Tom, the president and vice president spoke about this shooting in just the past several minutes.
They did. It was a very intense moment, as we saw with the president. We'll have more on that in just a few moments, but both of them echoing the frustration and heartbreak so many Americans feel over the seemingly endless mass shootings. A very somber President Biden and almost angry President Biden spoke at the White House a short time ago after returning to the U.S. from abroad.
Beautiful, innocent, 2nd, 3rd, 4th graders. And how many scores of little children who witness what happened see their friends die as if they're on a battlefield, for God's sake. They'll live with it the rest of their lives. There's a lot we don't know yet. There's a lot we do know. The parents who will never see their child again, never have them jump in bed and cuddle with them. Parents who will never be the same. The nation, we have to ask, when in God's name are we going to stand up to the gun lobby? When in God's name we do what we all know in our gut needs to be done?
I would normally say in a moment like this, we would all say naturally that our hearts break, but our hearts keep getting broken. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Republican Texas Senator Ted Cruz accused Democrats and the media of politicizing the massacre of these children, as Democrats once again are calling for stricter gun control laws or just really any action at this point at all. And Pat, a note that the NRA is holding their convention in Houston, and among the speakers there, Republican Senator Ted Cruz, Republican Governor of Texas Greg Abbott, and the former President Donald Trump.
All right, thank you. We'll be following that as well. Thank you so much, Tom. Now, our coverage of the deadly elementary school shooting will continue throughout the night on CBS 2, CBSLA.com, and our streaming service, CBS News Los Angeles, and at 6:30 on the CBS Evening News with Norah O'Donnell. Now, CBS 2 gets results just hours after our hidden cameras exposed perfectly good food meant for the homeless and hungry being thrown out. Local leaders are demanding an investigation and promising to hold people accountable. Our David Goldstein broke that exclusive story right here on CBS 2 News yesterday. And tonight, he's live at City Hall in downtown LA with a significant update. David?
Well, Pat, we have a reaction on two fronts, both LA City Mayor Eric Garcetti and also City Attorney Mike Feuer. Excuse me for the sirens as the fire truck going by. City Attorney Mike Feuer wrote this letter to LAHSA administrators just a couple of hours ago. He is outraged on what he saw workers from the LA Homeless Services Authority we caught on hidden camera just throwing out food meant for the homeless.
I was outraged when I saw your piece.
LA City Attorney Mike Feuer reacting to our investigation. Food for the homeless being dumped in the trash. Cases and cases of food caught with our hidden cameras. Packages with a sandwich, apple, and water thrown there by outreach workers with the LA Homeless Services Authority.
And here, there's food, and it's being thrown in the trash. That's what appeared to be the case from watching your report. That's outrageous to me.
For months, we watched as LAHSA employees would pick up food every morning to give to the thousands of homeless in the communities, using it as a way to try and convince those less fortunate to accept services and housing.
There she is.
But some workers we saw went to Target, Starbucks, McDonald's, handing out some food, but mostly driving around for hours and hours. Then we watched as they would take the cases out of their cars and throw them in the dumpsters. Cases filled with food like this one, right in the trash. You're throwing the food out in a dumpster. Why?
I wish I could answer that.
LAHSA admitted they do discard meals, claiming they're perishable, but Feuer wrote this letter to LAHSA demanding answers.
Let's say all of it would expire that night. There are people that night who are looking for decent food.
Were you surprised to see that much food being thrown out?
I was.
LA Mayor Eric Garcetti was also concerned about what he saw in our investigation and is asking LAHSA how this could happen.
I mean, if there's food that is perfectly good that's being thrown away, that's unacceptable.
Now, I just emailed somebody at LAHSA. They claim they haven't received the letter as yet. They, of course, will respond to the city attorney, both the city attorney and the mayor, looking for answers after our investigation. We're live here in downtown LA. I'm David Goldstein. Pat, back to you.
All right, thanks so much for that, Dave, on that developing story. Now to this breaking news, a police standoff after a police chase. Desmond Shaw is live over the scene in South LA. They're still there, Des.
Yep, it continues, Pat, at Figueroa and 70th. We're actually on 70th Street where this came to an end. It was an alleged stolen vehicle suspect that stopped a few times and was acting like they were going to give up and then continued with the vehicle at one point, flames coming out of the back. Have some earlier moments to show you of all of that. Now, LAPD already shot out one of the windows with either a pepper ball or a beanbag, and we understand that the K-9 unit is on scene to try to convince the suspect to come out peacefully before they have to send the dog in or more than that. But it's a standoff here with no end in sight on 70th Street with Figueroa shut down for as long as this person refuses to surrender. Live in Sky 2 overhead, I'm Desmond Shaw. Pat, back to you in the studio.
All right, thanks so much, Des. Now to this, smart cars, smartphone.
An unmarked, I think. Yeah, an unmarked unit, I think. Okay, copy that. Coming up after the break. They're using us after the break, Sarah. Okay, cool. We'll keep it short. Okay, thank you. Okay, 30 seconds. And this continues here in South LA on Figueroa and 70th Street, which is just north of Florence. LAPD officers from the Southwest Division were in pursuit of that pickup that you see there because they believed it to be a stolen car, but the person behind the wheel decided he was not stopping and led officers on a slow-speed chase down Figueroa, where he collided with other vehicles. And for a time, we could see flames coming from under the vehicle, but those appear to have dissipated. So this is now a standoff here that is affecting both sides of Figueroa. From Florence over to Gage, Police K-9 are now on scene. That's latest here from South LA News Chopper 4. Back to you in the studio. Thank you, Booth. Yeah, maybe passed out, and it may be a woman. Yeah, it looks like a woman, actually. It is. Oh, then yeah. They have not, Jack, and the woman is now in custody, but does need medical attention. Jack was reaching out to us. She's on the ground. I don't know that she's passed out, but she does need medical attention. Okay, they're helping her up. They have not, Jack. Okay, sounds good. Yeah. He said we can just get her in the ambulance and then we're good after that. Yeah. All right, perfect. We are good, Sarah. Thank you. Yeah.
Go ahead, go ahead. They're going to roll her into the rescue ambulance. They have her on the gurney. She was definitely moving around. You can zoom back in. They're not taking us off the top. There they go. They're going to roll her, so stay tight. Keep her out of the lower thirds. Oh, where are they putting her? Go ahead, go ahead. Okay, confirming no, they're not going to take us at 6:30. Okay, heading out. They're washing off the tear gas. Right, that's the first time we've ever seen anything like that. Because you're pointing in the sun, so if you close the iris, see how it kind of comes back to life? So point it this way, because that's, you'll want to shoot anything out this side better than, it's just way too ugly out. I can't even see. You're still pointing that way. So your little indicator tells you where, so you're this way. So point, downtown's at 1 o'clock. See how the picture will get better as you go right more? Get out, yeah. So now the sun's going to be behind us, or at least off to our side, so it's looking better. All right, we resume our scanner, so go ahead and start scanning everything. 7 and 8. And then, there you go. And then turn these 2, 4, 5, 6, and 8. And 8. And 8. No 0. And 8. 3, 7, 8. And yeah. So you got those. Now, when you point away from the sun, you're going to have to uncrush your blacks, or just not, like, put it back to 0, and then adjust your iris. And then, because you want these two popped out, this one's out, but this one's not. There we go. You can turn them, yeah. You can turn this one up a little bit, this one up a little bit. There we go. Does your picture look blue at all? Okay, so keep it pointed this way, because anything from 12 o'clock to 9 o'clock is going to be ugly. So point it all this way. Close your iris a little bit, and do a white balance. White balance, yeah. Tell me, did that make it better or worse? Worse? It looks more blue? Okay. Tilt up a little bit, and right, not too much. Down a little bit. Try it again there. Yeah, auto white. So a slight move